Hello, Jean-Louise.
Hi.
So, we're here today for an interview concerning the book about you, which is called To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yes.
And my first question is, how can you relate to the symbol of a mockingbird? What people in your surroundings can fit to the role of a mockingbird versus a blue jay?
From as far as I've understood, a mockingbird's niche is to be, in comparison to a blue jay, more withdrawn, a bit more reserved, quieter, and don't really seem to do any harm. So the most obvious fellow man reminding of one, I would have to say, is Tom Robinson. He was such a good person, and just like a mockingbird, he used to mimic the beauty in the world. But by reason of his undervaluation in society, he ended up in a real bad position. Then a blue jay is pretty noisy, right? Fond of talking, I believe. I would say that the blue jay in this case was a part of the whole situation. I mean, at the time when Atticus had just approved Tom Robinson's case, I suppose that there were pretty many blue jays out there in Maycomb gossiping a lot about his rare behavior. I recall that even the word nigger lover was mentioned a few times.
Well, then I guess it was the mockingbird's good word against the blue jays, right?
You could definitely say that there were two sides of the story. And then there were also those who agreed with Atticus, but that just had some reason for not supporting him. Cowardness, perhaps, I don't know. Like, for example, Mr. Dolphus Raymond, who pretended to have a drinking problem as an excuse for having a black wife and mulatto children, and therefore could be considered to stand in the middle.
Oh, I see. My next question is, how do you reflect over possible changes in the relationship with your father Atticus during this episode of your life? Do you think any one of you might subconsciously have acted as a role model for the other?
I think all children at some point in their childhood looks up to their parents. I've always thought that Atticus was different from other adults. When I was younger, this was something that was not very appreciated by me. I mean, Paul was not the ordinary, strong and masculine father that other children had. But as you grow up, you learn what qualities to value in a person. And so further on, I came to wish that everyone in the world would be more like Atticus. Personally, I do my best to be such a good human being as he is, and I know that there are qualities that he values highly in us kids too. He used to say that children are children, but they can spot an invasion faster than adults. I guess we're just more sensitive to changes and therefore not indoctrinated with prejudice, and that is an admirable quality.
Okay, so in that way, both you and your father inspired each other.
Yeah, you could say so.
But even so, I still wonder if these years of growing up, following the Tom Robinson case, your father being accused of a nigger lover, if they would come again, what would you have done anything differently or?
That's a hard question. Considering that times have become a bit better, I'm happy for how everything turned out. Getting to know the real Boo Radley, Mrs. DeBose, and so on. I am very thankful for. While I at the same time wish I had done more to save Tom Robinson from the very sorrowful and tragic ending. I mean, those were hard times, and I prefer not to live in the past. But of course, friends supporting us kids, us supporting Atticus, and Atticus supporting Tom, at least took us to a better situation than back then.
So, do you think that the way everything turned out affected the village Maycomb and its neighboring community?
At that time, Maycomb was pretty sleepy and laid back, and everyone's business was known by everyone. So during the time of the trials, people must have been talking and gossiping pretty badly. Of course, it must have made an impression on people. As I said before, there were those who believed Tom Robinson when he declared himself innocent, but did not officially admit their inner thoughts. Some of these people changed their mind after some time of trials, talking and speculations, I recall. Also, I think that the social status might have come to change a bit afterwards. Perhaps it acted as a verification that just because someone is in the bottom of the social hierarchy doesn't mean that that person's word can't be trusted. I think this episode of Time made a great difference for a lot of with lower social status, and not only Black people. And this in both in an emotional way and officially in front of the law.
Thank you. Moving on to the next question. It can be considered that regular people's everyday life is filled with judgments of all kinds, which especially could be noticed in the book. Why do you think this is?
Well, as you said, this could be clearly seen in the book, that the world is filled with judgments, subconsciously made ones in everyday life as well as in court. I believe that there will always be judgments. It's a part of human behavior to read our neighbors and our friends. Unfortunately, it's not rare that it gets serious consequences. I mean, people with coveted qualities tend to get more privileged than others. From my experience, appearance that reveals money surplus and ability to be unemployed, which white skin shows or is shown by being fat, have been popular in history. Thus, I think the judgment will always be there, and it's something that each individual person should have in mind, both in order to reflect over one's statements and in order to handle critique.
Well, thank you. That were some very good thoughts. But unfortunately, we have to round off now. So thank you very much, Jean Louise, for being here.
Thank you.